It's all kind of just related to the idea of just think, just think about life. Just like, just take some time and be like, okay, what is honestly the smartest move? Am I being swayed by things people are saying? Am I being swayed by what you should do? Am I being swayed by wanting to look good to people? Am I being swayed by these different things? And you have to break that down, and you have to be so smart with all this time, with all these days, with all these years, and you have to just be hardcore about it. You know what I'm saying? Hey everyone, it's Ryan with Legendary, and today I want to talk about short-term versus long-term mindset. So I've had this for a long time, and I might go into a little something here, kind of for my family and my sister and all those kind of things, just to kind of thank them for things they've done for me. But so I've always had this, not always, it's been so long now, maybe since I was 14, something like that. I've had this long-term mindset that kind of says, okay, I'm not worried necessarily about how long it takes to make these things happen. I guess I was just kind of strategic about them and patient. And I said, if I start all these little different things, because they're little at the time, and I stay committed to them, and I just keep working on them, off and on, and maybe weekly or whatever, I work on these different things, and I keep building them up little by little, for 10 years, for 15 years, 20 years, whatever it is, then eventually it's going to be just, you built this giant thing, But I don't really know, because I haven't talked with a ton of people about this. Sometimes I feel like I talk with people about it a little bit, and it kind of seems like it's not a similar mindset to me. I don't know. I've talked with some people about a similar thing, but sometimes it seems like, people want the kind of short-term success and kind of see like what's going to be going on in the next few years, and I'm not sure that's entirely true, but I have seen that a little bit in people's lives, you know what I'm saying? And it's not really so much kind of like the 15, 20 year vision for where things are going. It's kind of more so like, okay, let me put in a little bit of work here, but it's not like necessarily there's like this huge goal for where it's headed or something like that. And so this can be important for building things and working on things, because, that's one side of it, because, if, like, I've been working on music for a while now, and you might kind of be like, oh shoot, this is actually a ton of work, and I'm gonna have to be super committed to this, and you might be hoping to kind of get where you want to get to in like 5 years or something, and maybe it's not that plausible. And of course, if you're doing it full time, yeah, maybe you might be able to get there and all that, but a lot of it is kind of up to how hardcore you're going on it and your drive and all that. But for another reason, short-term versus long-term is so important, because you definitely can't be thinking about how other people are thinking about your situation. You have to have a long-term mindset 100% for that. If you're concerned about being on everyone else's timeline that you think is correct or that they're pressuring you with, that is just a horrible idea. If you are kind of like, oh, I should probably do this, I should probably get this, I should probably whatever in order to look good, that's a horrible idea. You don't want what people think to influence what you're doing at all. You just want to stay on the right trajectory that between you and God, or yourself, you feel like is the best thing to do. And so that's another reason why you should be focused a lot longer out for things you want to do or whatever. You want to be strategic about it with purchases and things like that, because a lot of times big purchases, it's a much better idea to give it a lot more years. Until you're better in a financial situation to do these different things, whatever. So that's another reason. I know I said I was going to talk about my sister, dad, my family, and all that. Yeah, I wasn't like how I am now when I was 12, 13 and younger, something like that. My sister is crazy, like in a good way. She got started like being so wise, my older sister, at a really young age. And I feel like she was like 10 or something when she was putting all these habits in place that were like good habits to have. And I was like, bro, like, I don't care. I want to play video games. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I want to just do whatever I want. I don't care about habits and being healthy and all that. And she started these habits when she was like 8 or something, which is just insane. She's got to be like one of the wisest kids that ever lived. But she really got me on the right track. I think I was like 12 or 13 or something, and I was like, oh geez, she's doing all these things, and she has this long-term mindset. Like, she started all these things where she was like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then when I read it in 20 years, when I look at this and I open this, I'll be like, oh, that's where I was. And I was like, what? Like, she's got this crazy long-term thing. What I did have when I was younger was crazy dreams. Like these, I think tons of kids have it where you're just super creative and you're thinking about all these amazing, wonderful things, whatever. Like this stuff. It's like I wear this every video, it's like, what? This for me is, I just retained that imaginative mindset and that creativity from when I was like really young. And I don't know, I think like I'm really childlike, childish has a different ring to it. And I don't think I'm childish. I think I'm childlike, which to me, it's like retaining that youthfulness, that energy, that joy, which is, I feel like I'm always just really energetic. But I was like, dude, I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know. Maybe I feel like some people get to a certain age or point or something, and they just kind of like lose some of their energy. And I definitely haven't had that, but what I wonder is, okay, is this a mindset thing, or is it lifestyle, or does it happen to people and it hasn't happened to me? Like, I don't know, but I'm kind of saying that, like, people think, oh, you get to being an adult, and it's like the whole adulting is hard and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand. I know this is a bit of sidetrack, but I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I was a kid, I had all these crazy dreams, fun things, whatever. I was like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And when I was younger, I was always, let me think. Yeah, I was always like producing something. You know what I'm saying? I was always like, let's do the thing that like makes something, that creates something, that let's produce. And I was kind of like, it's kind of hard to remember, because I'm just like thinking about future stuff and whatever in life now. But when I was younger, it was like all this, let's do this, let's create, we could do this fun thing, we could do this. And I feel like maybe it was like unchanneled kind of, let's do all these things. And I think it was like my sister, that it's hard to remember the timeline exactly, but I think it was like my sister it was my sister that was like, I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing all these things, she's being healthy, and she convicted me, I was like, oh yeah, I might need to like lock in here. I might need to adjust these different things. I might need to adopt some of these good habits. And like the funny thing, like with her journal, whatever, it was like, oh, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, oh, I was like, I remember being like, she had this journal where she was consistent with it. And it had been like 5 years that she had this life journal. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to wait 5 years to be able to look back at it. And so I think it was like 5 years where I saw her doing that, but I didn't start one myself. And then I was like, okay, but I'm so old already. Like, she started when she was like 8, and now I'm like, and then she was like 15, or 13, and then I was like 11, and then I was like 13 and whatever, and I was like, oh, like, I'm so old already. I'm like 13. I should have started when I was 8. So now I'm way behind. Like, do I even start? And then obviously, so I started that journal when I was like, I think I started when I was like 11. And I didn't want to do it, for a while, because I was like, oh, it's going to take forever to be able to look back. Bro, now that's 11 years old, and I get to look back at that. Time went so fast, 14 years ago. And so all that to say that she got me thinking in this way. She got me thinking like thank you. You know what I'm saying? She got me thinking like, let's think long term, Let's think a bunch of years in the future. And so, I don't know all the details of how it started to work in me, but I was like, at 14, it was something like that. 14, I went hardcore. I went so hardcore after God, after figuring out reality and what's going on in reality and what the truth is. I went so hardcore on it. And 15 years old, I was just locked in. You know what I'm saying? I had all these things go crazy, and I dealt with all these different issues and all that. And it was like a period of like 5 years of this certain kind of lifestyle, But then I was like 15, yeah. And, all this, I'd kind of say like all this, all these fun things that I was doing, all this kind of like unchanneled, unfocused energy that of just like producing all these things. I was, pretty committed to different things, and I was like, oh yeah, let's produce this. I had that. Let's make this in the world. Let's make this happen. Let's produce. Let's create this thing, whatever. She helped me to like channel it and say, okay, let's look at this like 10, 15 years in the future. And so, bro, I started making music when I was like 15. I started working on it and all that. And I was like, all right, I have these dreams now of like in the future where this is going to be, where I want this to be. Let me just stay focused and have that long-term mindset for like 10, 15, 20 years. Bro. And then a bunch of different things in my life, whatever, came to the point where I work super hard. I work extremely hard. And the deal is, if you have all these different things that you're working on, they're good things, and you have a vision for them in the future, and you stay locked in, and you stay so committed to them, and you're not necessarily worried about results. You're working on getting those results hardcore, but you're just staying committed, even when you don't see the day-by-day results. And you work on all those different things, and you build them up, and just give it time, and just give it year after year after year after year after year after year. And eventually, it's going to get to this crazy point. It's going to get to this crazy point if you just stay locked in, you stay working on all those things and developing all those things. It is just going to reach a breaking point, and you just stay committed to them. And you say, okay, I've been working on this thing for how long now, and I'm not making money from it. I'm not achieving what I wanted to achieve with it. It's not, a reflection of like the dream I had for it yet, but like, don't care about that. Like, so you want to be realistic. You don't want to be like blindsided by like, oh yeah, like you were locked in on this thing for 20 years and you delusionally believed it was going somewhere, but it's not. I get it, but you want to still stay locked in it, because if it's delusional, you still made a ton of progress, and you still like set this thing up. You still did this incredible thing. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't get the results you were thinking yet, whatever, just keep going and keep building that thing. And, that's the long-term mindset, and just stay focused on it. And, short term and long term, like you just gotta keep that belief high. and you just gotta keep going. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just powerful because, you know, you might have this short-term mindset and you're like, how much longer do I have to go? Do I have to put work into this? And you might, if you're thinking like, I want to do this in 3 years, that's all I can commit to, you know, like, ugh, that's so much work. 3 years probably won't be enough. But if you just stay committed and have this long-term mindset, just that long-term mindset, what it does is you say, eventually, you know, it's going to get there. And you're thinking 15 years, whatever. If you have that, you're going to stay motivated. You're going to say, eventually it's going to happen. Eventually I'm going to get there. And that causes you day by day to keep working on that thing, to keep going. You know, if you have that short-term mindset, then you might get kind of drained, and you might be like, oh no, this is the most massive mountain ever. Like, I don't want to spend all that time, whatever. And, you know, if you don't have enough drive and motivation, then like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Then like, I get it. Like, you might not make it, whatever. That's where I think it's important to have that drive and motivation to keep going. But you just need to be thinking longer term, you know? And it might not be blowing up. It might not be going crazy, whatever. But just have like a 15-year vision, something like that, 20-year vision. Keep going on all these different things and just see it 15, 20 years later. And 20 years of hardcore, 20 years of going after it, you know, that's insane. That is so great. That's an insane amount of time. Like, yeah, so regarding the things that you're working on, that's an important thing. And then, like I mentioned, not caring about what other people think about you. You don't want to go get a super awesome expensive car or a super awesome house, whatever, with a mortgage, and then it just kind of ruins you financially in order to look good to other people. You know what I'm saying? You want to have this long-term mindset. You want to push it further. You want to like push those things further back to where it makes sense. And you don't want to try to keep up with people and look good to other people. You don't want to do that. You want to do what's smart, what makes the most sense. And you just, you know, you have to have that, not that instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? You got to push it further. You got to hold out until it's something better. You know, like that experiment or whatever with the kids who had one marshmallow, but if you wait a minute, then you get two. And a lot of the kids just took the one marshmallow. You just have to, if you just wait a little bit longer and keep working extremely hard and keep going, you know, and you don't have that, I can't think of the term right now, whatever it is, delayed gratification or whatever. I know it, but I can't think of it. If you just don't have that instant gratification, you know, and you just push it further. I've seen, you know, I feel like I've read things in the past that's like people who have the delayed gratification or whatever. The good that it produces in their lives is so incredible. If you can just, you know, just have a more future-looking mindset of like, okay, like I don't care where I am right now, whatever. I don't know what background I have behind me, a castle or dragon or whatever. But I don't care where I am right now, necessarily, you know? Let me just think like 10 years in the future, and it's not even that long, and it's going to be insane. You know what I'm saying? And you just delay it more, and you don't go out and get this super awesome car, this super awesome thing right now. Just like, it can ruin you. If you make some crazy purchase right now, that can literally just like ruin you. If you get this crazy house or this place that has this insane rent or whatever right now, that can just ruin you when it's way more strategic to work on things and build up to it, you know what I'm saying? And be super smart and strategize super well. And so it just, all these different ways of thinking that might seem pretty insignificant and whatever, they're so important for everything in your life. Like going out and getting all the best clothes, going out and getting, you know, all the nicest things and getting all these things you want right now. If you can just have this self-control and you can delay that and you can just wait and you can focus on the right things, it's so powerful. And so, yeah, short-term versus long-term, that's a lot of it. You know, that's a lot of the idea of it, as far as building things, as far as, you know, buying different things, whatever. Short-term versus long-term. I mean, it's all kind of just related to the idea of just think. You know, just think about life. Just like, you know, just take some time and be like, okay, you know, what is honestly the smartest move? Am I being swayed by things people are saying? Am I being swayed by what you should do? Am I being swayed by wanting to look good to people? Am I being swayed by these different things? You know, and you have to break that down, and you have to be so smart with all this time, with all these days, with all these years, and you have to just be hardcore about it. You know what I'm saying? And have more of an awareness of 10 years. If you have 10 years of going hardcore on something, that is insane. And if you have a dream car or a dream house or whatever, or something you want to do, whatever, and it costs a ton of money, and you have that amount of money right now, and you could put it into that and buy it, bro, if you just wait 5 more years, you know, and like set things up better to be more financially able to do that, whatever, bro, just delay it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just wait 5 more years. You'll be much better set up. That purchase can just ruin you when you could have put that money into investing in things and making it sustainable in the future and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just a matter of saying, man, I really want that right now. I really want to do this right now. I really wish this was here, whatever. Just say, okay, 10 years. Let me just do 10 years. You know what I'm saying? 10 years in the future. I'll just do it then. You know what I'm saying? For me, I'll be 35. I'm hoping I'm going to still have the same energy right now. My energy hasn't changed from when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, like, I don't see it going down when I'm 35 necessarily, you know? Like, of course, okay, it'll go down a little bit, whatever. But it'll be so much better then. You know, just stay healthy, whatever. And I know it's risky. I know it can be risky because it's like, okay, what if something happens and I never got to experience that, whatever. I think that it's worth it, you know? I just think that it's worth it. You only live one time, so why not just take the risks that are more so like necessary to do because you only live one life. You might want to get that fast car, you might want to get that nice home, you might want to get whatever right now, you know, but if you stay healthy, if you stay young, whatever, then, you know, it'll be pretty much the same in 5 years, in 10 years, whatever, and it makes much more sense, you know what I'm saying? And so just have that, think about the long-term mindset, you know, instead of the short-term. And yeah, thank you to my sister. Thank you so much. And yeah, and I think I mentioned my dad too, quickly, but I'll talk about it more in another video. But my dad, thank you for, you know, being a good role model of working hard, you know. But yeah, that's it, guys. Just keep in mind that long-term mindset and just think about it real deeply, short-term versus long-term, you know. Hey everyone, if you were looking to receive life coaching, I am offering life coaching one-on-one sessions through Zoom, and life coaching is not necessarily telling you what to do, but it's more so asking the right questions, going deeper on your situation, and just being someone to listen to you and help you reach your goals. So with Legendary Life Coaching, it is weekly sessions on Zoom, and we would be going in depth on kind of your situation and all that, and it's also the weekly accountability for if you're wanting to hit these different goals and improve in different areas. And then you'll also get access to your virtual whiteboard, which basically will allow us to keep track of all your different thoughts about things and your progression towards, hitting different goals and making progress in all kinds of different areas. I personally love it. You can even put images in there and all kinds of things to just really get a good idea of what's going on in your life and what you want to achieve, where you want to get to, and the things that you want to make improvements on. So it's to have someone to talk to, someone that will just, listen to you, listen to everything that's going on in your situation, and also help you to reach those different goals. So if you're interested, I've got the link in the description.